Merry, bright, and packed with Christmas favorites.
Beneath the tree of a holly jolly Christmas. Last Christmas, I gave you my heart.
Holly, listen now for a limited time on Channel 79 and on the SiriusXM app. Free with all trials and popular plans.
Your business, your money, your life.
Marketing, expanding, and branding.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
Your business, your money, your life.
Entrepreneurs, CEOs, and investors.
SiriusXM Business Radio.
To hear Business Radio, activate your radio now. Call 844-711-8800 or go to SiriusXM.com/go to sign up quickly.
Including Pod Save the World.
Hey, it's Tommy Vitor. Each week, me and my co-host and former White House colleague Ben Rhodes break down the biggest stories from around the world as they unfold. Let's talk about Russia. Biden and Chinese President Xi Jinping are set to meet face-to-face. There are competing narratives in this conflict.
Pod Save the World is available now on the SiriusXM app, and SiriusXM Radio is free now through December 4th. Just press the button in your car to enjoy. Visit SiriusXM.com/listen free to see what's on. Best. With the SiriusXM Platinum VIP plan, you can unlock the ultimate listening experience in up to 2 cars and stream anywhere with 2 app logins. Enjoy our greatest content, opportunities for live VIP experiences, and prioritize customer care. Plus, get access to over 5,000 audio and video concert recordings through nugs.net. Call 844-711-8800 and become a VIP. Offer details apply. Not available in Canada.
Week, and you can hear all the games on SiriusXM. Hear matchups with playoff implications, like the Pac-12 championship with Washington facing Oregon. To the pylon, touchdown! What a strike by Bo Nix! Get ready for game day on College Sports Radio Channel 84. It's free listening time at SiriusXM. That means your friends and family can get an early holiday present. We've turned on their SiriusXM Radio for free now through December 4th. Visit SiriusXM.com/listen free.
Get the SiriusXM app and listen on your phone when you get out of the car.
If you've been thinking about buying a home, you need to be in the zone, the home buying zone. You need a game plan to win in this great real estate market. The Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage has all your bases covered. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, purchasing your dream home, refinancing, consolidating debt, or even considering a reverse mortgage, contact the Big C team at Equity Zone Mortgage today. They have the lowest closing costs, and they'll close your loan on time, guaranteed, or they'll pay your first mortgage payment. And they even have a 3.5% purchase down payment grant that can get you into a home with little money out of your pocket. It doesn't get more clutch than that, folks. Score big on the biggest purchase of your life. Call Equity Zone Mortgage today at 1-800-772-8624. That's 1-800-772-8624. Or apply online at equityzonemortgage.com and tell them Big C sent you, as heard on the Big C Sports Podcast. License number 018148868.
There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see. There you go now.
I think I'm recording.
Oh, let's see.
Plus, you can create your own personalized Pandora station based on the artists you love. And hear over 100 extra channels filled with ad-free music for every mood or occasion. Get your first 6 months of our Platinum plan for only $8.33 per month, plus fees and taxes. Just call 844-711-8800 to take advantage of this amazing offer.
From low-rise jeans to high-rise dreams. 2000s R&B hits. SiriusXM's new channel, The Flow. Now on Channel 48 and in the SiriusXM app. Included in all trials and popular plans.
Hear every game on your radio. And with your hometown announcers and local pre- and post-game shows, it's always a home game on the SiriusXM app. Kansas City! Get ready for game day with weekly shows from NFL greats Phil Simms, Larry Fitzgerald, and Tom Brady.
To hear NFL radio, activate your radio by calling 844-711-8800 or visiting SiriusXM.com/go.
Quando Deportes, bonjour, vive vici. Let's get ready to rumble. Welcome to the show. My name is Drama of Big C Sports. This is Big C Sports coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe. According to me, and people who love the universe, and that would include you. What a beautiful day in the neighborhood. A beautiful day in the neighborhood. Won't you be mine? Won't you be mine? Won't you be my neighbor? Shut up! It's 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, I told you, faith comes by hearing. Now, I told the man I was voted the neighborhood watch spokesperson. And my job is to motivate the people. He said, you got to do it 3 o'clock in the morning? I said, well, maybe you have a point. But you don't have to worry about what time it is when you follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 29 podcast applications all across the universe. Follow Big C Sports on Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, TuneIn Podcast, Good Pods Podcast, Amazon Podcast, iHeartRadio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast on Geo Saban out of London, England, as well as India and Africa. Podtail, YouTube, Hubhopper, Stitcher Podcast, Radio Line, Bepod Podcast, Luminary Podcast, Listen Notes, Podcast Wise, Podbang, Verbal Podcast, Podcast Policy, Podcast Republic. I'm telling you, you can also find us on an app that I used to be afraid of called allfees.ai. Give that some praise. The robots are trying to take over. We don't want the robots to take over because they may turn us off. What did Teddy Pendergrass say? He said, turn them off! Yeah, we don't want those kind of robots to turn us off. You can also follow Big C Sports Podcast streaming OTT on 4 TV podcast platforms all over the universe. Give us some praise. Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. I love giving that praise if that makes sense to you. But what I love giving out the PSA for the Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. If you know any veterans, sometimes they go through issues. There's an 800 hotline number for them, 800-772-8624. That's 800-772-8624. You want to give them some praise because we all need somebody to lean on. It's nice when you have somebody to lean on. And speaking of being leaned on, today in Dimdale Hills, California, I went and got what's called a chiropractor exam. And when I went in there to my chiropractor exam, it was set for 10 o'clock this morning. I said, okay, I can be there 10 o'clock. You know, I'm a Virgo, get places on time. And so when I get inside, there was already 4 guys waiting for their 10 o'clock exam. I think they overbooked just in case some guys are too sore to show up. So the first guy, the doctor said, so where's it hurt, sir? The guy said, it hurts everywhere. He said, okay, lay down on the bench and I'll give you a chiropractic massage everywhere. So the second guy sits down. He said, where's it hurt, sir? He said, well, it kind of hurts on my feet, so I need my feet worked on. He said, okay, go ahead and lay down, and I'm going to work on your feet. And then the third guy comes in there. The doctor said, where's it hurt, sir? He said, well, I've been having some pain in my arms. He said, okay, well, lay down on the table, and we'll see if we can work on your arms. And then he said, okay, sir, is Mr. Curry here? I said, Mr. Curry's here. He said, tell me where it hurts. I said, it hurts when I look at my golf swing. He said, give that some praise. Give me some praise. I said, can you improve my golf swing? That's where it hurts. He actually said, yeah. That man was cracking some things on my back. He had me lay down. He was cracking my hips. He had me bend one leg over the other like the Heisman Trophy polls, and he cracked that hip. Then he had me turn over on the other side and do a Heisman Trophy pose, and he cracked that hip. And then he had me stand he had me stand up, and he said, bend over and touch the ground. Talking about pressure. I was able to bend over and touch the ground. And then he said, well, you have great flexibility. So after he saw that I could reach over and touch the ground, not all guys can do that. Some guys can't touch the ground when you're standing flat-footed, but I was able to touch the ground. And then he told me, he said, walk around the building and tell me how you feel now. I said, Doc, I feel great, but will it improve my golf swing? And he said, yeah, it should. I said, well, what other thing can you pop that would make me improve my golf swing? You know what the man told me? He said, I don't know, but you still got to pay the bill. Give me the bills of praise. But I think it's going to improve my golf swing because I don't hurt as bad as I was hurting. I've always wanted someone to walk on my back. Even when my son was a teenager, I would have him walk on my back to make me feel better. It'd pop a couple of bones. It made me feel better. And now I have a better sensation when my back is being walked on. But he walked on it. He popped it on. He had some type of a table that I laid on, and he was able to pop my back by twisting me around like a pretzel. And so I don't know if my golf swing's better, but I think I'm going to go out and hit some golf clubs in the morning if it's not raining in Dimner Hills, California. I want to say give going to see the chiropractor some praise. You know, I was afraid to go to the chiropractor, but I was really nervous when he said stand flat-footed and bend down and touch the ground. Because I was stiff. I mean, I've been able to do it. I was able to put my palm down because I'm very flexible. But he did help I feel so much better. I had no idea I was so compacted. But all fair and level word, give going to the chiropractor some praise. Especially when he says now it's time to pay the bill, if that makes sense to you. Really do appreciate that. I want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight Effect TV for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, where God said, reparations now, reparations forever. And then we get that praise. And then God said, let there be light. And a pastor friend of mine he said, hey, Big C, I listened to your program the other day, and I want to have a word with you. I'm thinking, okay, the pastor's going to give me a tithe, and he's going to throw a little seed. He's going to throw some seed to me. He said, I want to make sure that you're not doing blasphemy on the Bible. I said, I thought you were going to give me a seed. He said, well, in Genesis 1:3, you keep saying God said reparations. You said God said reparations now, reparations forever. And I looked in Genesis 1:3. That's not what it says, Curry. I said, oh, well, what's it say? He said, God said, let there be light. I said, well, reparations is light. You got to give that some praise. And he said, well, I just want to make sure that you know the word. And I said, I thought you were going to give me a tithe. Life is funny. Anyway, that's my story. I'm sticking with it. I want to tell you what I love with the Big C Sports Podcast is I get the chance to have some latitude, kind of like driving through the highway. You got to stay at the speed limit, usually 55 or 65. I think some places in the South, you can go as high as 70 miles per hour. On the Autobahn, you can go up to 200 miles per hour if you can get the car to go that fast. But on some places in life, you got to have the latitude to not worry about the speed limit. And you don't want to go see the judge. But in life with Big C Sports Podcast, I love what I do because God has given me something that I love. I do it with my eyes closed. And I saw something that was printed back in I want to say September. No, it was March. Beg your pardon, March 30th of 2023. And I don't know how I missed it because I keep saying I think of the Associated Press because CBS News, they did an article on reparations. And they interviewed a sports guy. His name was Big C Sports. And then I just noticed today that NBC News, they did an article on reparations. I was talking about Powernomics with Dr. Claude Anderson the other day. But this said, because it's so important, I want to give that some praise. Praise is so important when you think about things that need to have praise now. Because sometimes you praise things before they happen. But the article said, March 30, 2023, it said California reparations. It says Charlton Curry of Dimdare Hills, California, who discusses reparations on his Big C Sports podcast. And it says that cash payments are necessary, that money talks. I want to give that some praise because that is NBC News. And there are times when the reason I want to say that, not only because CBS News wrote the same article by the Associated Press with Janie Har that put it out, but it's been shared on some of the biggest news outlets in the United States of America. And I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. If I was just shucking and jiving, you think they would have written about me in a news program? And it's important to me because sometimes it shows that you got to follow that citadel called faith. Because some of the knuckleheads that criticized me back in the day said, man, you talk too much politics on a sports show. I can't find anything that they've talked about written by NBC News. I can't find anything that my critics have talked about that was written in CBS News. I can't find anything that some of my critics talked about in the Associated Press. I can't find it. Not that I'm vindictive, but if I was, I would understand. But for some of the people that said, man, you talk too much politics on a sports show, and they tried to make fun of me in front of other ignorant people who laughed. But I can't find any of those ignorant people with an article that they put together on a sports show that they do or a political show that they do. I can't find it by NBC News. I can't find it by CBS News. I can't find it by ABC News. I can't find it by Fox News. I can't find it by the Associated Press. And all that means is, if you're going to do something, you just got to do it. Either lead, follow, or get out of the way. Because none of those knuckleheads that try to criticize me for doing politics and sports, none of them have a program. They got an opinion. Now, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has an opinion. But if your opinion has merit, it may be picked up by ABC News, by CBS News, by NBC News, by the Associated Press. Oh, there you go again, just bragging. I'm not bragging. You can Google it. All I'm saying is my work is important to me to be factual. And when most black men have something written about them by major news outlets, they want to focus on the negative. Or if you're an athlete or an entertainer. I remember growing up watching Bernard Shaw on CNN. And he was just a straight to the point news reporter. And there are times when everyone knows Oprah Winfrey, but she's more of a talk show host. Nothing wrong with that. And then I think about some of the people now that I see in media, black Americans, and oftentimes they stick to their lane. What point are you trying to make, Curry? My point is, I have a sports podcast. But because I speak the facts, NBC News, CBS News, ABC News, and the Associated Press, they gave me some praise. I didn't solicit them. They called me. I'm just saying that because I'm telling you reparations is going to happen. And I'm going to be the first sports podcaster and even broadcaster in the universe that's going to tell you about it. I'm saying it because I'm trying to get more men and women who are not afraid to just champion President Abraham Lincoln. Don't wait for someone to approve what you're saying. Oftentimes, mainstream, they're going to tell you, man, just stick to sports. Are they going to try to tell you, oh, you don't know what you're talking about? Nobody's listening to you. If nobody's listening to Big C Sports, how is ABC News doing an article about Big C Sports? How is NBC News doing an article about Big C Sports? How is ABC News doing an article about Big C Sports? How's the Associated Press doing an article about Big C Sports? How is CNN sponsoring Big C Sports? Now, you got a lot of other black men on TV, and black women too. And what if they just had the respect for President Abraham Lincoln, who made sure that our butts got freed? Because no other president in the history of this country has ever freed descendants of chattel slavery. There's only one president in the history of the United States of America that has freed slaves out of 46 presidents. Only one. That's President Abraham Lincoln. Now, if he were an athlete that scored 35 points in a game, we'd all stand up and give him some praise. If he was an athlete that threw for 350 yards in a football game, we want to give him some praise. If he hit 73 home runs in a baseball season, we'd give him some praise. If he was undefeated as a boxer and won 50 fights in a row without a loss, we'd give him praise. But the person that made it possible for all of us to be free, we wouldn't even do anything to say thank you. And that's what I'm saying, not just black Americans, but white Americans too. But white people were not made slaves in the United States. And they know that. I'm asking from, the people who wrote these stories about Big C Sports, they were white? They're white people. So don't act like all white people are bad. There's a lot of bad ones out there and they know who they are. They'll do anything they can to destroy a black family. They'll do it with a smile on their face. I've seen it. I've experienced it. Especially they want to destroy black men. Something in the genes. But at the same time, when a major media outlet, they didn't go to CNN or they didn't go to ESPN, they didn't go to Fox Sports, they didn't go to CBS Sports, they didn't go to NBC Sports, they didn't go to TNT, where people are so pigeonholed, and there's nothing wrong with that. You want to be a pigeon, be a pigeon. I'm an eagle. I want to fly high because I do take myself lightly. But at the same, I have a lot of passion too. Some people say, man, you're very stoic. I learned that from martial arts. When I was 11 years old, I got trained by a guy named Clarence. He said the best way you win a fight is don't get in one. At the same time, I want to say to the young black men and women out there that you have a dream to make something come true. But if you don't have a strong enough constitution, somebody's going to come and tell you, that's not a good idea. Malcolm X, when he in the movie Malcolm X, portrayed by the great Denzel Washington. I must have seen the movie Malcolm X 50 times, especially the first 5 minutes. But when Malcolm wanted to be a lawyer, the white instructor told him, no, you don't want to be a lawyer. You want to be a carpenter. Jesus was a carpenter. You want to be a sports talk show, but you don't want to talk about politics, things that would benefit your people. Just keep talking about sports. And you just make sure you entertain us. But I love the way I do my show because I got it from being in the church growing up. Being around pastors, they were like fire and brimstone. They knew the word, but they spoke with passion. And that's how I do my show. It's not for everybody. I've been to some churches where everybody's going. Some people go to sleep. And that's okay. But I love what I'm doing. And I'm saying it because some young person has a dream right now. And if they're foolish enough to not have a strong enough constitution, that they'll let some weak-minded sycophants tell them, just dumb down. Dumb yourself down, boy. You don't want to offend people. I noticed that most smart people, they like being around smart people. Most foolish people, they like being around foolish people. I've heard birds of a feather flock together. I'm asking God to expand my horizons. And it's happening. Because, like I say it one more time, maybe I'll say it 10 more times. Of all the people that criticized my platform when I was getting started, and now I'm on 29 platforms, there's actually 2 more that I don't talk about yet, on 29 platforms, and been written up by major news articles in the United States of America. You can't get much bigger than the Associated Press. ABC News, CBS News, NBC News. And those are the same companies that are going to report on reparations when it happens in California for descendants of child slavery. You got to give them some praise. I love giving that praise because I'm excited about it. To me, it goes back to Janie Hart. She called me after I gave a speech. I went to my car to make sure that I didn't get a ticket, and I heard ring, 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 ring. Hello, how can I help you? And she said, hey, is this Charlton Curry? I said, yes. Who am I speaking to? She said, this is Janie Hart, the Associated Press. I said, oh, how'd you get my number? She said, we have our ways. I said, what made you call me? She said, I heard you speak. There were about 200 people that spoke that day. I don't know if she called anybody else, but I didn't see anyone else with an article written. Why did God put me in that place? The same place I fell down a flight of stairs. Yeah, I fell down a flight of stairs. But I think about she called me, and I said, well, how can I help you? She said, I want to get your thoughts on reparations. I said, if you heard me speak, you know my thoughts on reparations. I believe what Abraham Lincoln said. I said, reparations now, reparations forever. Just like the great President Abraham Lincoln. And I know, and I thank God Almighty for all these great things that have happened. I started with a crew of people. They all went their own separate ways, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I'm going to make Big C Sports a billion-dollar company. I already know that. I have no doubt in my mind about it. And God helped me plant those seeds. And hopefully a lot sooner than I was anticipating, because I have reach all over the world. All I need is 1 billion people to give me $1, and that's $1 billion. 1 billion. That's not too much to ask, because there are billion-dollar companies, and there's a lot of sports shows that are not written up by CNN or CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, Associated Press. I just want to give praise where praise is due. I want to give praise to people who understand that this man is talking about things that are real. And that's important, because a lot of people, they want to dumb down the black community to just say, touchdown, home run, 3-point play, oh man Willie, he's going all the way. How's the NFL, a $15+ billion industry, 75% of the athletes are black Americans, African Americans, and not one African American owns an NFL sports team. Not because there's not enough money to get involved in it. They're just excluded. It's an oligarchy. They don't let you in. They don't let you in. Or why would you want to own a sports team, Curry? Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, when he bought the Dallas Cowboys about 3 decades ago, I think he paid $150 million. Now the Cowboys are worth over $6.5 billion. That's a pretty good investment, isn't it? You know, had he been a black man, he would never have been allowed to buy it. They would not, because the oligarchy won't let him in. Do you think, when you think about the things that go on in this country, from the Homestead Act that built up tremendous wealth for white Americans, not every white person, but the white society. And even if you're a poor white person, you can meander through that society because you meet the paperback test. Google what the paperback test means. You meet the paperback test, even if you're poor, broke, and ignorant, you can still fit in. You can be a PhD black man, black woman, and you're met with suspect. That's a fact. So I'm so proud that my mother and father and my grandparents, they always encouraged me to speak your mind and develop your mind to its highest extent. Because the hardest part of anything is getting started, like a freight train going down the track. The hardest part is getting it to start rolling. And with Big C Sports now, it's going to become a $1 billion company. I already know how. Because I feel it in my bones the way I'm expanding so much and being written up by the top media companies in the United States. They're not calling me about shucking and jiving. Hey, when I played ball, this is how I played. They're not asking me about it. They're asking what you think about how important this is. They're saying, Charlton, what do you think was the most seminal moment in the history of African Americans in this country? I say without equivocation, the Emancipation Proclamation and the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment freed slaves, but the Emancipation Proclamation said, here's some money, like 40 acres and a mule. There's nothing more seminal than that, because the slaves could not earn one penny. They worked from cradle to grave. When they came out of the womb until they were laid in the grave, they could make no money. None. And you wonder how we made it as a people. We have 9 series DNA. No other group of people on the planet Earth have 9 series DNA but black people, called Africans. Whether it's African American, African Caribbean, African Canadians, whatever you call it. The only group in the universe chose that. Or some people say, God chose it. And this society that's slowly opening doors for people descendants of child of slavery has tried to break us in every step of the way. Not only from slavery, you couldn't make any money, you couldn't buy land, you couldn't own real estate, you couldn't live where you wanted to live, you couldn't marry who you wanted to marry, you couldn't procreate with whoever you wanted to procreate with. Massa told you who to lay down with. And if you showed that you loved each other, Massa would sell you off. Don't show no affection, Massa might sell you to somebody else. So look at all the junk that black Americans went through, African Americans, and we still rise. Because we have the most powerful DNA on the planet Earth. Dr. Leakey, oh, there you go again, Curry, talk about DNA. Google Dr. Leakey, considered the father of genetics. He opined that the dark gene is dominant, that the light gene is recessive. He opined that the dominant gene can reproduce the recessive gene, but the recessive gene cannot reproduce the dominant gene. That's Mendel! Dr. Leakey, when he was looking for the origin of man, he went to Europe, but he didn't stay long. He traced the origin of man back to Africa, to the womb of a black woman with 9 series DNA. And that's you can Google it. I'm speaking the truth about that. What's that got to do with sports, Curry? Because coming from the most powerful DNA in the history of the world, in this system called colonialism and capitalism, we've been excluded and pigeonholed into just playing sports. Not all of us, but pejoratively. But something that was done by only one president in the history of this country is President Abraham Lincoln. He signed the Emancipation Proclamation that gave us 40 acres and a mule. With 40 acres, you can take that land to the bank and get a loan. You can farm it, grow houses, go to start a business. You know, the same thing these NFL and NBA owners do. They have money to buy sports teams. They got the money somehow. Many of them benefited from their families being beneficiaries of the Homestead Act of 1862 and 1863. That gave them over 276 million acres of land collectively to develop America, and even white Europeans. It's so important that we understand that. That's why when reparations is announced for descendants of child of slavery, the way it has been announced for Georgetown, I don't know how Georgetown beat the White House to it. They're in the same city. Georgetown pledged over $1 billion to 272 families. And we have our brilliant, intelligent black men and women, when they get on television, they just talk about sports all the time. And we have a receipt! Congress right now, as we're running up and down the court playing basketball, playing football, Congress is already right now, as we are breathing. Are you breathing? They're considering passing reparations right now. That's more important than who's in first place in the NBA. I'm going to get into some NBA power rankings, but I'm also going to be sending out a letter with the National Black Wall Street Project to every NBA owner. And I'm asking you, an NFL owner too, what are your thoughts on reparations? What are your thoughts? Because I want them to help petition President Joe Biden to pass reparations through executive order. You don't need Congress. There's over 172 co-sponsors of H.R. 40, a bill produced by Representative Sheila Jackson Lee out of Texas for reparations. It's more important than this NBA tournament play-in games. It's more important than will the 49ers beat the Eagles on Sunday, and I believe they will. It's more important than who's going to make the NFL playoffs. Because we see a lot of wealthy black men running up and down these fields in courts. But most people come from environments where this country tried to break our families apart through slavery. After slavery, there was 100 years of Jim Crow, separate and unequal. Plessy versus Ferguson, Brown versus Board of Education. We just had civil rights smashed in the face with turning down affirmative action. I guess the Supreme Court thought there's never been any disadvantage in the United States for people of color. So they said no. If you Google Black Wall Street, we had thriving communities. And now the mainstream has done what's called culling. It's a term known to farmers. Where you get the best fruit and you send that to market, the worst fruit, you take it, you mix it up and make syrups out of it, and jellies and jams. Well, I'm going to ask the NFL, every owner, I'm going to ask the NBA, every owner, they're going to get a letter from the National Black Wall Street Project, and I'm part of a co-chair in 50 states. We have offices and affiliations. I'm going to ask them to simply do the right thing. Petition the White House to pass reparations for descendants of chattel slavery. There's no other sports podcaster or broadcaster anywhere in the United States. I don't care how much money they make. And I'm asking my white ones too to sign off on it. The same way the whole country got together and ended apartheid in South Africa. It's time to make President Abraham Lincoln's dream a reality. And it can be done before Christmas. What do you want for Christmas? Reparations now! Reparations forever! From what I understand, it's going to happen in 2024. President Biden has the same power in his pen to sign reparations the same way he signed the crime bill that incarcerated a mass number of black men and women, destroying families. He has the power of the pen to do it. He has the power of the pen to say to the voting bloc that put him in office, I'm going to do right by the people that President Abraham Lincoln wanted to give 40 acres and a mule to. He can do it. He just can't find enough black men and women who are going to support him. Outside of some politicians, a lot of our brethren, they're going to wake up and do it. I can't be the only one. But I am the only one that was written about in ABC News, CBS News, Fox News, NBC News, Associated Press. They're listening. How would they write about my show if they were not listening? They're listening. And my audience is expanding. I reach millions of people all over the world. And I'm one beautiful, intelligent black man. And I just give God praise for that. Imagine when we get like 50 more people like that. I was standing in line at the bank today, and I met this lady. She's an actress. She goes to my church, and she says she's on the Hulu TV and some other programs. And I said, what are your thoughts on reparations? And she said, well, I believe it should happen. And I said, can you talk about it on your program? She said, oh, no. Like, why not? We talk about people who get... Let me not say that. I don't want to be negative. When you watch the news, what do they lead with? Mayhem. People who were injured. People who are doing wrong. Why is it okay to talk about people who are doing wrong and people who are harmed by lawlessness, and we can't talk about what President Abraham Lincoln offered us as a people? You know, Christmas is coming up. People going to the stores. It's called Black Friday. They want to buy things at a discount so they can put something under the tree. They're trying to give toys and presents so that some women have something under the tree to open up. You know, President Abraham Lincoln, he gave a gift too. President Abraham Lincoln gave a gift to black Americans called the Emancipation Proclamation. And people refused to open it. They refused to open it! But they can't wait to pull back that paper on that box from that store, that department store, where most likely the manufacturer of whatever you're buying out of that and putting in that box, they were not black Americans. The manufacturer of whatever you went to the store and put in your credit card, they were not black Americans. The box you're waiting to open right now, from whatever you put in that box, the manufacturer, they were not black Americans. Just taking money and giving it away. They say that, I heard studies that money flows in the black community one way. Out! There's some people, they wouldn't in their lives not go put something under the Christmas tree. A pagan holiday. It's not about Christ. It's about shopping. And some of those same people, when you ask them, what are your thoughts on reparations? They go, oh, I don't believe in that stuff. But they stand in line to buy stuff that they didn't even benefit from the dollar when someone spent it. And they'll go stand in line for hours at a time. From store to store. From sea to shining sea. To buy something to put in the pockets of somebody that don't even like your butt. Oh, there you go with this macabre party pooper. I'm not being macabre about anything. I'm saying if you can spend a few hours in a grocery store or a shopping mall buying something that sucks money out of your pocket, why would we not spend at least that same amount of time, even half of that time, supporting what Big C Sports is saying to your local media, to your employers, calling your congressman and your representative the way Big C Sports is doing, and asking them to reach out to President Biden at the White House. They already have 172 members that have co-sponsored H.R. 40, which is reparations. Think about that. We have people that stand in line to vote. To vote for people that refuse to honor what President Abraham Lincoln said. These black folks deserve 40 acres and a mule. They deserve reparations. Like the descendants of Holocaust. They've gotten reparations. They get it as you're breathing. Are you breathing? Are you breathing? You're breathing standing in line buying stuff that don't put money in your pocket. You're breathing as you're standing in line buying stuff that sucks money out. I'm just saying it's a similar moment. We got to get with it. And I love what I do with Big C Sports. Give that some praise. As I say, I always produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast all the shows. I do all the sound effects based on the platform provided by the agency. We could all use more laughter than advice. I know I can. And then I do the storytelling, the play-by-play. And the show's uploaded. The stats provided is uploaded to 29 podcast platforms. Out of New York City. I'm in Denver Hills, California. And then I never missed a show. We got people that miss a day in practice. I'm talking about practice. I'm not talking about the show, I'm talking about practice. I was waiting for a package today to be delivered And I was at home today on a webinar, and I was supposed to have a boxer that's going to be fighting down in Las Vegas soon, but at the last minute he said he had to do some things for his fight. And how did God have me outside when the UPS driver pulled up and gave my box to my neighbor? How did I happen to be out there? How did God put me out there to have this box that was delivered to another neighbor? It could have had $6 billion in it. How did God have me out there at that time on a webinar, sitting in the driveway? And I said, I wonder why that actually it was Amazon, the blue trucks. I said, what is that Amazon? I wonder if that's my box. And I said to the Amazon driver, excuse me, is that box from Mr. Curry? And I said, I'm expecting the delivery yesterday or today. And she went back and looked at the box. She said, oh, I'm so sorry, sir. I said, you almost gave my $6 billion to my neighbor. And people say, well, what that got to do with sports, Joe Curry? Because reparations, the money that was meant for black Americans, it went to the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. What? And people are afraid to ask for it back. What do you mean afraid? I just told you, Congress right now is deciding if they're going to pass reparations for the descendants of child slavery. And why? The same way God had me out in the driveway, and I saw the Amazon driver pull up, and they put my box at the neighbor's house. It could have been $6 billion in it. And God had me out there to see it. And I asked for what was mine. Just like reparations. I'm asking for what's mine, and you should too, if that makes sense to you. We got to. Because the Southern Confederates, they never offered to give it back. You know, if you go to your mailbox and they put your neighbor's mail in your mailbox, you could take it to the neighbor and say, and just put it on their front porch and say, hey, your mail was in my mailbox. Or you could just write return to sender, wrong address. And then the post office can send it to the right person. Well, that's what's in Congress right now. It's more important than who won a game. Because the money in the land that was meant for black Americans, descendants of child slavery, it was given to the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. When President Lincoln was assassinated, President Andrew Johnson came along and vetoed the bill. And he gave our money and land to the Ku Klux Klan and the Southern Confederates. Do you think they said return to sender? Do you think they said, oops, this is the wrong person? We lost the war! The Southern Confederates lost the Civil War. The Civil War was won because of black soldiers. Lincoln said, you join the Union Army and we'll guarantee your freedom. Help us win the war. And so, I'm telling you, because it's happening right now, because the politics are going to start happening. Governor Ron DeSantis and Governor Gavin Newsom, they're having a debate on Thursday on Fox News. I think Sean Hannity's going to moderate the debate. There's not going to be an audience there. It's their way to get them names more known on a national level. But you think about what happened to me today. When my package was delivered to my neighbor, God had me out there to see it. And I asked the Amazon driver, was that from Mr. Curry? And she ran back up to the house and said, oh, I'm so sorry. I took it to the wrong address. So when the Southern Confederates got the 40 acres of the mule, you think they said to President Andrew Johnson, I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson, we lost the Civil War. We lost the Civil War! This money is for the descendants of child slavery. They didn't do that. They kept it. You know what happened when they kept it? Compound interest. They put that money in the bank. Many families right now that are white, they got money handed down and land and property bequeathed to them through wills and trust and money from insurance policies that helped them get a head start in life. And then the United States government gave this white soldiers the GI Bill. They told black soldiers, no, thanks for putting your life on the line, but we didn't give you nothing. At some point in time, we got to say, wait a minute. Congress right now, you mean, Curry, Congress right now is considering reparations for descendants of child slavery? And I want to watch the game? I want to see them light the beam! Light the beam! Light the beam! If you can stand in line to watch somebody light a beam because some black players won a basketball game, or you can stand in line to get the between $1 million and $3 million that they're guaranteeing for every descendant of child slavery in America and the United States, starting in California, which line would you stand in? Which line would you stand? Oh, you say you stand in line to get your money. But right now, you're not standing in any line other than standing in line to watch a sporting event or standing in line to buy some stuff that don't put money in your pocket. The money comes into the black community and is sucked out like a vacuum cleaner. Big C Sports, if you're looking for work in the real estate, mortgage, and insurance industry, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624, 800-772-8624. A business loan alternative company. Items needed to qualify: 4 months bank statements, 5,000 minimum monthly revenues, 6 months in business. We specialize in unsecured working capital, up to $5 million. No collateral. Early payoff discounts. We can fund as little as 1 day. Give that some praise. My goal to help create a $6 billion in commerce by connecting the top brokers, real estate, mortgages, and insurance between the United States and Canada. I'm going to start a show in January of 2024. But I know reparations is happening. And many of us just don't even see it. And that's okay. Because I'm going to get mine. You can give that some praise. The Associated Press, they're paying attention to Big C Sports. So is CBS News. So is NBC News. So is ABC News. And I thank them for that. I won't let you down. I want to, before I close out, I want to pay homage to my entire family legacy. On my mother's side, my great-grandmother called her Mamo. My beautiful great-grandfather called him Pop. My grandmother, Muddy, a beautiful, loving woman, a seer. Like a psychic, she could see things in people. I think she's the one that had me go outside while the Amazon truck pulled up. And then she still helps me to this day. My grandfather Hezekiah, another wonderful seer. My beautiful mama, the most beautiful mama in the history of the universe. Started a Head Start program, a food program to help people. Also coached an all-boys Little League baseball team to a championship. I love my mama with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. The best person I've ever met in my life. On my father's side, my granddaddy owned 2 gas stations in Oakland, owned 2 churches. Actually, he built the 3rd church in Central California. But he owned 40 acres of land like the Emancipation Proclamation. Really proud of what he did. My grandmother, Alberta Curry, working side by side with my granddaddy with the 3 churches and the 2 gas stations. I was 8 years old walking through a hallway at about 10 o'clock at night. I felt someone touch me on my forehead. She said, "Excuse me, son." She said, "Are you on your way to get more cookies?" I said, what are you doing up? Grandma, it's 10 o'clock at night. You normally go to bed at 8:30. She said, "What are you doing, young man? Going to get some more cookies?" I said, "Cookies are baby crap to what I'm doing, Grandma. I'm going to get my reparations." And she said, "There's something about your voice I love hearing you speak." How does she know? Because I've been presented by CBS News, NBC News, ABC News, the Associated Press. I've won Broadcast Excellence Awards. And now I'm going to be the first person in the United States that announces when reparations are passed. You can give that some praise. I want to thank my father, former United States Air Force fighter pilot, chief mechanic, making sure airplanes can fly high so we can all stay safe at night. My dad's the first one to tell me about the SR-71 of the Blackbird. It can fly from Los Angeles to Washington, D.C. in 1 hour and 8 minutes. My dad's the first one to tell me about that plane. My beautiful, love my dad with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful brother Todd with that bombastic voice, sound like thunder and lightning when Todd would speak. Always talking about politics and sports. I love talking with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. My beautiful daughter, Daisy, the most beautiful daughter in the history of the universe. College graduate, 2 degrees in 3.5 years from a major university. Very smart, erudite. You're going to be a millionaire. Your daddy's going to be the first one to announce that. Set up the very first interview with Big C Sports back at Salem Media. But also helped me set up in college coaches that come to the West Coast to do work with Big C Sports. And even in my own family, there's stuff going on where the people try to divide black families. It's crazy. It doesn't please God, but some people don't believe in God. Daisy always trusts God. Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against him will prosper. God is not a respecter of persons. The enemy comes but to kill, steal, and destroy. If you study how this white society has treated black men, don't fall for it. I love you with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. My beautiful, handsome son, Malcolm, the most handsome son in the history of the universe. College student, senior, very smart, erudite, a good man. Malcolm helped me save trees. I used to always get the newspapers trying to look up stats for the Big C Sports podcast on players and teams. One day, Malcolm said, Dad, why don't you just Google it? And a light bulb went off. I've been Googling ever since, now on 29 podcast platforms. And one day, Malcolm said, Dad, you want to see Big C Sports on TV? I said, sure. He said, pick up the remote, aim it at the TV, and say, play Big C Sports. You see your show come up. That's before it was even on the air. And shortly after, I'm on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, and Amazon Fire TV. He spoke it into existence. Always trust God, Isaiah 54:17. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Understanding as reparations happen, there'll be some people that say, oh, they don't deserve it. I don't want my tax dollars going up. That money's already set aside. You can be anything you want to be. Never let anyone divide you from your family. Watch Malcolm X, especially the first 5 minutes, and look around and see if he was talking to you. I mean that with all my heart, mind, body, and soul. You can be anything you want to be. And then Big C, with all that wealth and knowledge over the years, always saying you got to believe, you got to believe, you got to believe. Saying, let's get ready to rumble. I love saying that. I'm going to close out today's show. I'll talk about NBA tomorrow. But something's more important than NBA basketball. It's about reparations. I'm the only sports show in the United States of America that would do this. You can mark my words. I want to thank the California Reparations Task Force for doing their part. Camila Moore, the chair, she's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Amos C. Brown, Vice Chair. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank the #1 Senator of the United States of America. I'll be meeting with soon. California Senator Stephen Bradford. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. He's sponsored the Name, Image, and Likeness that helps college kids get paid. He also sponsored the Ebony Alert that helps when young black children go missing. I want to thank Councilmember Monica Montgomery Steppe. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Assembly Member Reginald Dunn Sawyer. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. I want to thank Dr. Shell Grills. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Attorney Lisa Holder. She's brilliant. I love giving her praise. I want to thank Dr. Devon Scott Lewis, professor at California, Berkeley. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. And I want to thank Attorney Donald K. Tamaki, part of the California Reparations Task Force. He's brilliant. I love giving him praise. Give him all praise if that makes sense to you. Well, I'm telling you, as you're watching teams go touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. Go all the way to the bank with reparations. President Joe Biden will be getting a letter from the National Black Wall Street Project. It already has endorsements from senators and congressmen to pass reparations in the United States of America. It's going to happen, and Big C Sports will also have that letter sent to the White House before Christmas, if that makes sense to you. Why don't you do it too? Get your favorite NBA and NFL athletes to sign the same letter. And just honor what President Abraham Lincoln told us. But that's my story, I'm sticking with it. As I always say, if you're going to drink, don't drive. If you're going to drive, don't drink. Because mothers against drunk drivers are mad. And fathers against drunk drivers are mad. It's one of the easiest things not to do. You can call Uber, you can call Lyft. But don't let someone you love drink and get behind the wheel of a car. The life you save may be your own. Or someone that you love. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Now, you know what time it is. As we stand up for the kickoff, back in the day, There's a man known by the name of Jubudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man. He would always tell Ali, he said, you float like a butterfly and you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you got to use, how can you lose? Ali would say, I'm so pretty, I can't possibly be beat because every time I follow Big C Sports, I want to say reparations now, reparations forever. And I float like a butterfly and I sting like a bee. It's so powerful, people. My beautiful mother always says there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. No man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and call 911 because things change when the police show up. Hit me once, shame on you. You're not gonna hit me again. Don't let someone get brutalized. Call 911. That's my story and I'm sticking with it. Well, now you know what time it is. As I always tell you, on every Big C Sports show, I thank you, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a super fantastic day. Now we honor the time we stand up for the kickoff. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell us? He said, reparations now, reparations forever. Come on, you can do better than that. Stand up like your team just won the game. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell Congress to do? He said, Joe Biden, President of the United States, sign reparations now, sign reparations forever. Oh, come on. You cheer louder for the kickoff. What did President Abraham Lincoln tell us to do? Everybody said. He said reparations now, reparations forever. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I hope that you have a super fantastic day.